everybody, and welcome to this special on Mars going retrograde in Cancer. So this happens on the 6th of December at 11:33, and Mars stays retrograde in Cancer right up until the 31st of December at 37 minutes past midnight, and then Mars enters out of bounds while still retrograde in Cancer until the 21st of January at 5:35 a.m. when Mars moves into Gemini while still in retrograde and out of bounds, until the 24th of February at 3 a.m. GMT, where Mars goes direct in Gemini while still out of bounds. So yeah, there's a lot going on. So I'm Amani, I'm a karmic, holistic, astrological life coach, and I like to go in depth in all that I do, and all of my interpretations, especially when it comes to Venus, Mercury, Sun transits and everything really, are based on Vedic astrology, which is based on where the planets or the luminaries, which are the Sun and the Moon, are any given time in the sky. And all times are in GMT time as well. So yeah, thanks for listening. And yeah, first I'm going to talk about what Mars and Cancer represents in astrology. So in astrology, Mars is associated with our energy, our motivation, our passion, our sets, our exercise drives, our assertion, how we put ourselves across sort of like our ego, even though that's more governed by the Sun and Leo. And Cancer represents our home, our emotions, nurturing and sensitivity, and also sort of like how we may end up at the end of our life and our home life and stuff like that as well. So when these two meet, especially in retrograde, it creates a dynamic interplay between assertiveness and emotional responsiveness and expression. So although retrogrades in astrology are optical illusions, planets are not moving backwards, they're kind of just turning on themselves, moving side to side. But on the esoteric level, it symbolised periods of us needing to go within ourselves, reflect on our life, reassess our plans, and revisit unresolved issues. So now I'm just going to summarise the overall positives of Mars in Cancer. So it allows us to address our unresolved emotional issues from our past, nurture ourselves and others more deeply, and reassess how we channel our energy and how we can sort of like use our energy more wisely to create a more secure and harmonious home environment. And if we already have this, to give thanks for it and to just enjoy it. Negatively, because we can all be a bit more emotional, this can lead to us being a bit temperamental and moody, leading to passive aggressiveness, and this can lead to conflicts with those in close relationships. And because people may feel, defensive because they are more sensitive, this can lead to, potential misunderstandings. And the best way to navigate Mars retrograde in Cancer is to practice active listening, self-care, respecting your boundaries and other people's boundaries, listening to others, and as well as your own intuition, and just expressing your emotions, allowing others to express their emotions, and being patient with yourself and others as well. It's a good energy to use for emotional healing, self-reflection, focusing on activities and people that nourish your soul and overall well-being. And you could journal, attend therapy, focus on your personal development, do some research, work on your creative expression, work through underlying emotions by listening to music, creating music, playing the piano, keyboard, gaming, whatever it is that helps you develop more self-awareness, love, care, forgiveness. It's really essential to practice compassion, patient, keeping getting back up after each failed attempt at you, trying to relax a bit or to work with your emotions. No, it's a journey, it's not a destination. And if you allow yourself to, focus on healing, you can emerge with a deeper emotional understanding. And it's best to be mindful of obstacles so that you can work through the conflicts and challenges that come up, and you can just have more of a stronger sense of inner security if you just allow yourself to work with the energy of Mercury retrograde in Cancer rather than against it. So that's the short version. Now I'm going to go in depth. I'm Amani, by the way, your holistic karmic astrological life coach. So yeah, now I'm going to look at it from all angles, talking more about the practical, social, psychological, spiritual, symbolic, emotional meanings of Mars retrograde. So when Mars is in retrograde, we can find ourselves reflecting deeply on our motivations and desires. It wants us to, as I said, reassess our life, especially our personal ambitions, our career, our daily routines, how we use our motivation drive. Do we channel it creatively and into things that uplift our life, sticking to our routine, or do we overuse it, overindulge it, and maybe overindulging in hookups, food, drugs, just looking at your own personal habits and the ways that you can be self-destructive in thoughts and behaviours. We can also experience delays and obstacles in our plans, and these are pushing us to reevaluate our approach and give us the opportunity to develop more patience and resilience in our life. And although this energy can bring a lot of challenges, Mars retrograde, it's wanting us to go inwards. The plans we rely on may not go to plan right now. It wants us to align more with our authentic self. So it's not just about, overcoming challenges. As I said, it's about thinking at the ways that you can live up to your own expectations and think about the ways you've been living up to other people's expectations. Also, Mars, fiery energy, cardinal, wants to go, wants to get it done, can be a bit extra, so this can make us all a bit more aggressive with others, because we can be a lot more aggressive within ourselves right now, as well as we deal with emotions, or we are working at, rejigging our routine. So, by confronting any issues with impulsivity and aggressiveness or unresolved trauma right now, we can increase our self-love, respect, understanding and awareness and management, and we can just learn healthier ways to express ourselves, especially our assertiveness as well. And if we embrace, this chance to reflect right now, we can grow on, our emotional, psychological and spiritual levels as well, and we can just be more tuned to our emotional world, our responses, our underlying motivations that drive our thoughts and actions, and this can help us transform them, get outside of our comfort zone and develop a more grounded and empowered sense of self, and financially, it wants us to be more wise in the way we spend and manage our finances right now. It wants us to rethink our spending habits and investment strategies. Do you have any? If you don't, why not? And I know it can be hard because there's a lot of economic uncertainty, but we can find ourselves more having a tendency to be impulsive in our financial decisions under this sort of energy, because it wants us to go inward, and this can backfire. It wants us to take a step back, look at our financial priorities, and to avoid major purchases where we can, and investments at this time, especially if we don't have all the details and all the facts, and especially if we're doing it impulsively, as this lack of clarity and what we may be motivated motivated by to invest or to spend large amounts of money or time on it, even our energy on at this time, maybe misaligned with what we really need to do right now. So it wants us to focus on budgeting and saving instead of expanding, and looking at ways to sort of like eliminate unnecessary spending from your life and set more sustainable goals for your future, and to forgive yourself of your past financial mistakes. We all make them, you can't change the past. The milk has been spilt there. What you can do is change spending in the future. So it wants you to, spend time thinking how you can track your spending patterns and identify areas where you can cut back or where you could spend a bit more on, it wants you to take a proactive approach, because, Mars energy wants us to, spend time thinking about our personal development, our eating routines, exercise routine, creativity routines, our making love routines, even if we are single, and it wants us also, going back to the financials, to address debts and financial obligations with a greater sense of self-control. If you have been out of control and lack of stability there, make a plan on how you can gain more stability. And again, don't beat yourself up, just make a plan to change and what needs to be changed in your life on the financial level. So now I'm going to talk about the political effects of Mars in retrograde. So, it's here for a good almost 3 months. It allows leaders to face unexpected challenges that test their authority and decision-making capabilities right now. Although conflicts can come up within government bodies and political parties and organisational structures like in our workplaces and stuff, it wants us to reevaluate leadership roles, and this can bring to light vulnerabilities in established power structures and hierarchies, and this can lead to shifts as, different factions, different sets of groups within political parties and stuff push, vie for influence or push back against existing leaders. So there can be a lot of rebellion, whether it's just in our families, in our relationships, in our workplace, and so just watch out for that. And we can also find that public sentiment, we as a public are more critical about leadership right now and the effectiveness of leadership. So this can lead to a lot more debates over policies in the social realm as well, leading to a lot of discussions, but we have to be careful in our consideration, and this can lead to misunderstandings and miscommunications. So we just have to try and respect other people's opinions, because we don't all agree. We don't have to agree. What we need to do is try and find a middle ground and policies and ways of thinking that help the majority and not just our own selfish gain. So this retrograde allows political leaders and people who want to settle their own community, political party, or whatever you're doing. It allows us to strategically plan politically anyway, and allow for clearer insights, which is always needed. So on the worldly, materialistic level, businesses can experience delays or disruptions in their supply chain operations and stuff like that can lead to slowdown in production, and this can create an atmosphere where financial investments feel kind of precarious, unsteady, and this can push you and business leaders to adopt a more cautious approach to spending and investments. So on the worldly level, people will be reassessing their financial strategies and avoiding making hasty decisions, which can result in loss. And on a broader scale, social trends may become more reflective in terms of their material desires, and this can lead to a rise in minimalistic lifestyles and people, just trying to cut waste, as I said earlier, being more sustainable, and people can become more ethical. We're already seeing it, but more ethical in their consumption, and thinking about making their purchasing habits, what they spend, to align more with their personal values, and focus on long-term goals rather than immediate gratification. So people may not be spending on, seasonal fashions and stuff like that. People will be thinking about longer term investments, which is, the best use of Mars retrograde energy, thinking about how you can use your, all your drives to the best of your sort of like abilities, and so you can live your best life. In terms of the social collective effects, people can just be focused on their goals. Right about now, more people may come together to discuss unresolved conflicts, creating an environment where collaboration and honest dialogue are prioritised over competition and aggression. So this is really good. It encourages us to reflect on how our actions align with the social values that resonate within our community, and if we're lacking them, thinking about implementing them. Also in our home, workplace, social groups, this can apply to. It wants us as a collective to reevaluate our goals and priorities, and also past social movements that we have kind of forgotten may resurface now. People may really, go back to grassroots and activism, back to advocate for change on the message, rather than letting things like crazy opinions and violence get in the way of the message. It wants us to focus on healing and re-establishing connections, rather than, sort of causing rifts in communities and looking at our inequalities and our differences, looking at in the ways that we are equal as human beings. And it wants us to think about how we can regenerate old stuff rather than just going after the new. And if we, take time out to work as a family, as a community, as a social group or whatever, we can gain more clarity and purpose as a unit. In terms of the psychological effects, it can just make us sort of like, as I said, more sensitive, because it brings unresolved feelings to the surface of our mind, and we can find ourselves questioning past decisions and relationships, and we can just feel more irritable and frustrated, and this can cloud our judgment and affect how we interact with others. So it's crucial to recognise these fluctuations and changes, in our emotional world, and allow ourselves to slow down and reassess our desires and motivations. It can make us second guess ourselves in terms of decision making, but this can be good, because the negatives is that it can make us impulsive, because it's Mars energy turned inward, and if we allow it to fester and maybe overindulge in intoxicating substances or just overfeed, we can work our way up, so we just have to try and chill out a bit. And we may just find, if you're normally a decisive person, you may not be so much so it needs more of time for you to be more deliberate. So just think, take that time out before taking action. Don't be scared of it, if you are someone that's normally, on the ball to making decisions. It also can just reveal to us thought patterns and behaviour that we need to change, and it really wants us to look at the way that we may be overly critical to ourselves and others, and aggressive and impulsive, and how these may get in the way of us living a more balanced life. And just remind us once again to have patience for the process, and allow myself to take the time out to gain more clarity in our emotional and decision making processes. In terms of spiritual insights, encourages us to reflect on our true purpose and driving forces behind our actions, and we can find ourselves questioning whether our current path aligns with our inner self and its needs, and we may want to sort of like allow for more authentic expression of who we are, and engaging in spiritual research or journaling or meditation, Tai Chi, yoga can help us go within and allow us to connect with our inner wisdom and gain clarity. And it reminds us to develop more patience and mindfulness right now, and we may discover the importance of setting boundaries and asserting ourselves in healthier ways rather than passive aggressive or overtly aggressive ways, and this can lead to a deeper understanding of our personal power as we use it in the right way. energize, or we become more empowered. And as we confront past grievances, pain and unresolved psychological, emotional, spiritual trauma, and unresolved conflicts within ourselves and others as well, we can use the energies and the lessons that can be learned by us reflecting to develop more spiritually, and just forgive ourselves more. So the key word of this, I would say, of this Mars retrograde is self-forgiveness, self-empowerment, self-healing, letting go, building, looking at your exercise, eating, sleeping habits, all the habits that make or break our lives, and thinking on how you can, gain more strength, build more resilience, and, emerge from this spiritually with a clearer sense of direction. So esoterically, it invites us to explore the deeper layers of our psyche and to sort of allow the illumination of our shadows, especially those that illuminate our assertiveness and our motivation drives. It wants us to confront our inner conflicts and reevaluate our motivations, where we spend our time and our energy and other resources, and we can find that our outward expressions of energy and ambitions are stifled, and we may feel stuck, but this is just pushing us to really go inward and look for the answers within. And we will find them if we allow ourselves the time and space to gain a richer understanding of our real identity and needs, and think about how our actions meet our core beliefs, our real authentic expression, or go against them, and how we can change this. It symbolises a chance to revisit our past challenges, allowing us to process and heal from these experiences, starting or continuing that work, because remember, it's a journey, not a destination. And as we review our goals and passions, we allow ourselves to renew, and it shows us the importance of creating harmonious relationships between our desires and actions, and allows us to grow and become empowered as we allow ourselves to really get to our core and spend time with ourselves and face our shadow and embrace it and our weaknesses and transform them into strength. So in terms of the mythological meanings, Mars is associated with the archetype of the warrior, which represents conflict, courage, and our primal instincts of survival. During Mars retrograde, the warrior archetype is inviting us to retreat, reflect on the duality of aggression and introspection, self-reflection, and it wants us, as I said, to explore both our strengths and vulnerabilities, especially how we assert ourselves in face of challenges, and it serves as a reminder that true courage often lies not in action but in the ability to pause, reflect and be still and understand your motivations before charging ahead and changing them, to really go within to your core, spend time with yourself even though it can be uncomfortable. So in terms of Mars's retrograde impact on our creativity and emotions, it wants us to think deeply about our creative expressions and motivations, and wants us to release our creative energies more authentically, and we can find that ideas that once felt stagnant and not good begin to flow more freely as you take the time to reassess your creative goals. And by embracing this reflective energy, this can lead to innovative breakthroughs as you draw upon your inner world for inspiration rather than external validation. Emotionally, because it can be sort of up and down, chaotic sort of energy, sort of like repressed feelings can surface, pushing us to face unresolved frustrations and anger. And rather than acting impulsively, We're encouraged to process our emotions and our psychological and spiritual needs more thoughtfully, and allow it to heal emotional wounds and psychological and spiritual trauma, and by engaging with yourself, going slow and steady, you can develop a deeper understanding of your feelings, and by channeling this energy into creative expression, you can transform potential upset, pain, trauma into powerful artistic expressions, and this can lead to more clarity and personal growth. So now I'm going to talk about the aspects that Mars makes when it goes into retrograde. So it makes an opposition to Venus, a biquintal to Saturn, and a quintal to Uranus. So the opposition between Venus and Mars adds to the tension between our, meeting our desires and action right now. It allows us to have more awareness of our relationships, and it allows us to sort of like balance our personal desires with the needs of others. So this is really, really good to help us navigate the tensions in relationships. Also wants us to reassess how we communicate our wants while remaining sensitive to those around us, and allow others to do the same as well. And it reminds us that growth comes from going through these tensions, and it can inspire us to push our boundaries and explore new depths in our relationships. Mars is biquintal to Saturn is nice sort of energy that helps us with problem solving, being innovative and being creative as well. It supports us in tapping into our more disciplined side and embracing unconventional techniques. This can lead to breakthroughs in our projects and personal plans. And Mars is quintal to Uranus again, allows us to experiment with new ideas and get outside of our comfort zone, and we can gain unexpected insights by allowing ourselves to have some solitude, be alone and be stilled. And we can just feel like we want to try new things into our daily routine, using new technology or ideas into our work or exercise or eating plans, sleep routines and stuff. And we can just feel a sense of wanting to be more unique, original, and just having more excitement for life as well. And it just allows us to be disciplined in our effort and inventive in our thinking, which is needed over the 3 months Mars is in retrograde. Mars also makes an opposition to Pluto and a trine to the Moon's North Node. So Mars' opposition to Pluto adds to the power struggles, but also doubles down on the transformation that we can go through right now. It supports us in, sort of like getting to the bottom of problems and our challenges right now. It wants us to channel our frustrations and supports us in, channeling our pain into meaningful action, creativity, changing our routine, strategic planning, getting up over the obstacles. But it also wants us to watch out for being aggressive and confrontational, and find that delicate balance between taking action and allowing other people to do their thing but being empowered as well. And just be aware of how your actions and words have affect others right now as well, and also watch out for manipulating others or being coerced by others at this time as well. Mars is trine to the Moon's North Node. Is a harmless energy that promotes growth and us finding purpose. It provides us with the clarity and confidence to go after our goals and align with our life path. It allows us to take calculated risks when it comes to our career and other plans as well, whether it's spiritual plans or emotional healing plans. And it gives us the energy to, sort of like overcome challenges wisely, ensuring that our actions are not only assertive but sort of like in line with our overall needs, development and life purpose. So now I'm going to talk about the T-square that is also happening between the Sun in Scorpio, Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, Saturn in Aquarius and Jupiter and the midheaven in Taurus. And this has a 25% orb. So again, it allows us to be emotionally intense. Mars is in Cancer. As it goes into retrograde this year, and this T-square has, Scorpio energy, so they're both water signs. So it allows us to sort of like be motivated to overcome ourselves, especially in emotionally charged situations. But we just need to watch out for moodiness and overstepping people's boundaries, or being passive aggressive or outwardly aggressive as well. Saturn in Aquarius allows us to be disciplined and build more routine and structure in our life, and it allows us to focus on building more stability and security in our life as well, but also can add to the frustration and confusion regarding our life purpose and goals right now. As I said, some of us may be feeling like we want to go fast right now, but this energy wants us to slow down. So rather than push against it, go with it, do the work on the task that you need to. You may want to work outwardly, but you may need to just take this time to work inwardly on your motivation, drives and emotions right now. It supports us with our healing, personal growth, and working for our emotional responses, so we can build healthier patterns of communication and assertiveness in our life. And it just allows us to sort of like become more authentic and reassess our priorities and motivations, which this energy is all about. So now I'm going to talk about the karmic meanings, lessons, and past life memories and dreams, and the collective karma of Mars retrograde. So Mars retrograde brings a focus on revisiting past actions, resolving conflicts, and looking at hidden desires and unresolved traumas. So the karmic meanings lies in correcting past aggressions, or misuse of our energy. So for example, if someone had unresolved anger issues in their past lives or their current lives, this transit can trigger these emotions, offering you a chance to get help and to work on it and to heal and grow through it and get to the root causes of these behaviours and other behaviours. It also wants us to learn having more patience, especially with our own, personal development and building self-love, forgiveness and esteem and healing and awareness and acceptance in our life, and also mastering self-control and understanding the consequences of our impulsive words and actions, and how these may have stopped us from growing in the ways we need to grow in life. It also reveals the importance of channeling aggression into productive activities, outlets in there. So for example, if someone has a history of lashing out impulsively and with words or actions in this life or in their past lives, this could bring challenges that test your ability to respond calmly and thoughtfully right now. As I said, it can be testing. People can really push our buttons right now, so we have to try and navigate these situations when they come up with restraint, taking time out, counting to 10 if need be, having awareness and respect, active listening, and this will allow you to break karmic patterns and evolve spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. In terms of past life memories and dreams that can come up right now, we can have scenarios where unresolved conflicts and battles were left unfinished, dreams of fighting in wars, being involved in power struggles, experience intense competition can surface right now, highlighting the need to address past traumas and release any lingering negative energy. In terms of the collective karma, themes of global conflict, violence and power dynamic struggles, and issues related to competition, domination, egotistical behaviour, respecting other people's boundaries, overuse of sex and other drives and stuff may come into our public kind of conversations. We can witness an increase in tensions between nations, political conflicts of power struggles between communities, families, social groups and our careers and our workplace, and whatever comes up now serves as reminders for us to address deep-rooted issues of aggression and competition, and by collectively working towards peace and understanding and cooperation, we can sort of like shift the karmic energy towards a more balanced existence for all beings on earth. So now I'm going to talk about how Mars retrograde affects our family, friendship, co-worker, committed, hookup, self-partnered and single relationships. So in terms of family relationships, it gives us the opportunity to really reflect on past issues that have affected our family relationships, encourages open and honest conversation, allowing us to revisit unresolved conflicts and gain understanding on long-standing grievances and family feuds and all of that. And by trying to understand, even though it can be hard, to resolve family arguments, as we all can know, but if we give ourselves the time and space, this energy allows us to create a greater understanding, and this can lead to improved emotional support and unity. But negatively, it can add to the frustrations and miscommunications, and rehashing old arguments without a purpose, just bringing up, oh, you remember that time about, when we be sarcastic and stuff like that without really trying to resolve the issue, can lead to increased tension rather than resolution, and this can just cause more upset. Make sure, as I said, if you are going to bring up something, make sure you are going to follow it through, allowing for everybody to have their opinion, taking the time to revisit. This energy is all about revisiting things, and if we focus on healing and resolving issues and approach conversations with empathy and patience, recognizing that while self-reflection can increase our connection, it also requires a willingness to move past the past resentment, bitterness, and trying to get our own back and revenge and stuff, And if we can sort of like be mindful of the emotional pitfalls and other tensions that can come up, we can sort of like resolve unresolved feelings right now and strengthen the foundation of our family bond, which is what it's all about in terms of friendship. Misunderstandings and assumptions, assuming things can really add to the flames to the fire. Minor disputes can escalate more easily than usual, and miscommunications can distort intentions right now as well. So it's important, once again, to be patient, practice active listening, ask the right questions, answer the right questions to avoid overreacting and unnecessary conflict. And by engaging in open conversations, this can help you clarify intentions and feelings in friendships, and this can help you to resolve misunderstandings in a constructive way rather than allowing them to fester, and this can just lead to, again, as I said, minor disputes getting out of hand. So although it brings challenges, it can again offer growth within friendships if we create an environment where everyone involved feels safe to express their thoughts and emotions and work through disagreements and strengthen your connections. And remember that resolving conflicts require effort from both sides. If we're willing to listen actively, respect each other's boundaries and opinions, and that we have different ones, and this can transform tense moments into constructive conversations, making the way for deeper and more resilient friendships. In terms of co-worker dynamics, because this energy can disrupt established workflows, misunderstandings can come up more frequently, again leading to tension within teams, and this can impact overall productivity. So we need to take a step back and reassess our teamwork approach. This period encourages us to identify patterns that may not serve our collective goals, and by embracing a more open and flexible mindset, we can create an environment that prioritizes clear communication, mutual respect, and by addressing issues directly rather than in a passive, aggressive manner, this can make way for smoother teamwork. And as we engage in honest conversations and encourage everyone to voice their concerns and suggestions, this can reduce conflict and again build more respect and understanding, and this proactive approach can help us sort of like resolve miscommunications and also reinforce and repair trust within our team environment, and it can just allow us to sort of like build more unity in the workplace. In terms of committed relationships and hookups, in committed relationships it allows us to dig deeper into our emotional intimacy, and it pushes us and supports us to deal with challenges that come up by having honest conversations. And again, this is a great energy to deal with unresolved issues and increase trust and intimacy and bonding, and by being open with your feelings and concerns and creating a deeper understanding of each other's perspectives by asking the right questions and allowing everyone to grow individually and as a couple. And by embracing vulnerability at this time, you can strengthen your emotional connection, and this can provide a solid foundation. In terms of hookup relationships, the same, having honest conversations can help you have a more meaningful connection as you discuss your intentions and desires, but the lack of prior established communication can lead to misunderstandings or feelings of insecurity, because one partner in the hookup may want to speak and the other person may be, this is not what that's about, and this can be an imbalance and this can cause upset feelings. So it's important to reconsider what you truly seek in interactions with others on the hookup level, being honest about your needs, letting go of connections if need be, or making them more solid if you both can agree. In terms of singles and self-partnered, it wants you to focus on building more self-love and understanding and thinking about what you really want in relationships. By reflecting on past experiences and identifying patterns, you can gain clarity on the qualities you seek in future partners and what you bring to the table and what you need to improve on and stuff like that, and how you can become a better lover to yourself as well, and emerge with a greater, stronger sense of self and love and empowerment as well, as you make choices that align with your authentic desires, and just allow yourself to be more confident and prepare yourself for healthy connections later on by again learning to love yourself in the right ways. And this is how we can learn to be there for others in the right ways, but negatively, because we can be more inward, we can get lost in self-criticism and negative thought patterns and these lingering insecurities or unresolved feelings, and that can come up, can just make you feel insecure. But we all have feelings, and they're nothing to be ashamed of, just things to be worked through and managed so you can increase your overall well-being. And so right now, you need to find that right balance between self-exploration and self-compassion, and allow yourself to just embrace self-doubt and confusion, but also to build self-understanding, esteem, respect and clarity. So now I'm going to talk about how Mars retrograde positively and negatively influences our career, personal, spiritual, educational and self-partner development. So in terms of career development, because there can be delays or obstacles in our projects, this can lead to frustration or ending of projects you wanted to continue, but these things that happen right now, whatever they are, wants you to reassess and reflect and determine if your current goals in terms of your career align with your true career needs, and it wants us to use problem solving skills and build resilience. So although this can be a testing time in terms of career development, allow yourself to go through the motions. So allow yourself to maybe reach out to former colleagues or bosses, and this can bring good results. It wants you to slow down and consider your actions before making strategic choices that can benefit your career in the long run, and just allow yourself to take this time out. In terms of personal development, it wants you to maybe revisit old projects that you neglected or aspects of your personality that you neglected as well, and allow yourself to heal and rediscover them. It wants you to sort of like slow down, even though this energy can want us to push forward aggressively, and just really think about what motivates you in terms of your relationship, your exercise, sleep, daily goals, and any other goals that you may have. It wants you to build more self-respect, awareness and love, and identify patterns and behaviours that are holding you back from reaching your full potential. But negatively, because the inner conflict can make us feel frustrated, this can lead to feelings of, just feeling like you're not going anywhere, and, not wanting to go anywhere, and just thinking, what's the point? But if you face challenges head on right now, you can experience, breakthroughs and create more meaningful sort of like relationships with yourself, in all ways, all your different personality traits, and with other people as well. And if you just allow yourself to unfold as you transform yourself at a slow and steady pace, and let go of resistance and embrace your fears and insecurities. In terms of spiritual development, it wants you to think of any ego or aggressive tendencies that have clouded your spiritual journey, and practices and beliefs, because it sort of like serves as a double-edged sword when Mars is retrograde. It wants us to really go beyond our motivations. A lot of the time, we can fall into spiritual ego and bypassing, and we can find ourselves an excuse for even the most crazy self-behaviours by trying to use spiritual concepts. So it wants us to be real with yourself, more authentic in your connection to your inner self, thinking about how you can prioritise your spiritual growth and understanding over material and superficial goals, and just allowing yourself to be open to newness. But negatively, it can add to confusion and disconnection from your higher self right now. As you struggle with unresolved issues, you can find it challenging to maintain focus and gain clarity, and the resurfacing of past trauma and lingering doubts can create obstacles that get in the way of your spiritual progress. But despite these challenges that come up, see it as an opportunity for growth, and by working with your underlying issues and your spiritual ego and your vulnerabilities and your weaknesses, and refine your understanding of your spiritual self, and strengthen your connection to your higher power, the divine, your higher self. In terms of educational development, it wants us to reflect on our educational goals and our learning techniques and our methods, and it wants us to engage in more self-study, seeking out skills, listening to podcasts, reading books, watching videos, signing up for online courses and following them through. Note to self as much to you guys as well. It wants us to really reevaluate our current learning strategies and gain a deeper understanding of the material, whatever it is we're learning, or gain a deeper understanding on the best ways for us to learn. It wants us to focus on subjects that require self-reflection and absorb as much information on a more deeper level. And it really wants you to sort of like go deep, go inward. But negatively, interpersonal conflicts with those on your core sort of people or mentors can come up, and it wants you to overcome these obstacles with them and think about how you can sort of like understand where they're coming from and engage in more meaningful discussions that contribute to your analytical skills and enrich your academic experience, but also maybe your debate skills and understanding other people's perspectives, as well as asserting your own opinion and standing firm in your convictions while allowing others to do so. Also, because there can be misunderstandings and miscommunications, it can add to the frustration and confusion right now, and procrastination can become an issue as the drive associated with Mars is less assertive, so this can make it hard for you to maintain motivation and discipline in your academic or other goals right now, and revisiting past academic failures or thinking oh, I can't do this or that, can lead to self-doubt and esteem and further drain your energy. So try and get to the core issue and know that we all learn in different ways. Someone may learn something faster than you. As long as you keep on going and work within your own capabilities, building your confidence and having the willingness to go after new knowledge and keep on building skills, you can become the best in your own way. So ultimately, he wants us to navigate the obstacles that come up with patience and perseverance, keep on going after every failure, and to build more resilience. In terms of self-partnership, it wants you to sort of like redefine or refine your sense of self, become authentic, engage in self-care practices that can build your emotional, spiritual and psychological resilience, and set more healthier boundaries with yourself, and kind of create more supportive inner dialogue. A lot of the times we have a toxic voice or toxic voices, stirring up inner conflict and adding to our self-doubt and criticism. This energy wants us to, try and build a more supportive inner dialogue, knowing that we can't change the past, but we can build a better future. But we can find it kind of, hard to maintain a positive relationship because of frustration and anger right now, which can become magnified, and we may just have a tendency to be more self-neglectful and sabotagey. So we just need to watch out for that and just allow ourselves to comfort ourselves in the moments of discomfort, and know that discomfort and uncertainty are, part of the journey as well. So now I'm just going to talk about the best things for creatives, professionals, entrepreneurs, alternative healers, lovers and singles and self-partnered to do when Mars is retrograde. So creatives, experiment with new techniques, dig deep into your inner world and allow yourself to be more creative with your journaling or meditation and stuff like that as well. You may revisit a previous work, adding more depth and meaning to it. So whether this be a painting, a graphic design, a song, music production and whatever. Professionals should use this time to refine your skills, update your career resume and portfolio, network strategically and plan your career sort of like trajectory path, just thinking about it, as I said earlier. Entrepreneurs should use this time to review your business plans, assess your strategies and sort of like, refine your goals and stuff like that. Entrepreneurs could also do market research as well to gain a better understanding of your clients' needs. Alternative healers should increase your healing practices by expanding your knowledge through courses and workshops, re-evaluating how you approach your clients and connect with other healers for teamwork or tips. Lovers should engage in more meaningful conversations and strengthen your bond through acts of love and kindness, romantic gestures and surprises, and working on resolving, lingering issues and misunderstandings. Singles and self-partners should nurture yourself and explore new hobbies and embrace solitude for an opportunity for inner reflection and empowerment and building more self-love into your life. So now I'm going to talk to you about some questions that you can ask yourself regarding your financial, emotional and spiritual needs right now, which can just kind of help you focus on what you need to reflect on. So you need to consider how your financial goals align with your overall values and life purpose. So you can ask yourself whether your current spending habits support your long-term goals or if they're getting in the way of your progress. Are there areas where you can cut back or invest more wisely? Really taking the time out to reassess your financial strategies and really think about whether they resonate with your authentic needs and desires. Emotionally, you can think about how your reactions to challenges may be influenced by past experiences. Asking yourself, are you holding on to unresolved feelings that affect your current relationships or decision making processes, and how can you create a plan to work through your unresolved psychological, spiritual and emotional trauma. Engaging in self-examination can help you identify thought and behaviour and relationship patterns that no longer serve you. On a spiritual level, think about whether your practices and beliefs are nurturing your growth. Ask yourself, are you dedicating time to connect with your inner self, or have you strayed from what brings you peace? This energy can be used to, sort of sit with yourself, and this can give you insights that guide you toward a more balanced and happy life. You can also ask yourself, are you prioritising your well-being both mentally, spiritually and physically? Reflecting on your energy levels, are you feeling drained or refreshed, and what habits contribute to these feelings or relationships, or habits? So take this time to really assess whether your daily routines and activities and relationships, thought patterns, behaviour patterns are in alignment with your innate needs, your authentic needs to, your body may need more sleep. Are you staying up late? Are you having lights on, using blue lights, laptop, phone, Netflix and chilling, doing things that are affecting your overall health, In terms of future planning, think about how your current actions really, really, really do align with, your long-term goals. Ask yourself, are you really ready to take decisive steps towards your goals, or are you allowing distractions to divert your focus? Evaluate your motivations. Are they coming from a place of authenticity, or are they influenced by external pressures like family expectations, social expectations, societal expectations, So if you work with this energy, the insights that can come to you from, self-reflection can guide you to redefining your daily routines and strategies and making sure that they, serve your core intentions, your core plan for your life, So now I'm going to talk about the holistic, spiritual, exercise, nutritional and psychological self-care rituals to do when Mars is in retrograde. So, spiritually, as I mentioned earlier, meditation, journaling, Reiki, breathwork meditation, any form of meditation, mantra, tai chi, yoga, jumping around, weights, whatever engages you spiritually, writing songs, listening to poetry, grounding practices, as I mentioned, yoga and tai chi. You can find other ones. Nutritionally, focus on nutrient dense foods that boost your moods and energy levels, such as leafy greens, whole grains and healthy fats. Also make sure you stay hydrated, make sure you keep your magnesium, sodium levels up, and research all of that as well. Psychologically, make sure that you sort of establish a routine that includes regular mental breaks, creative outlets such as painting or dancing or whatever can help you, have some chill out time and reduce stress and anxiety and burnout as well. And by working with this energy, you can just allow yourself to be more sort of in tune with your real needs, and taking a holistic look at the needs of your mind, body and soul, and asking yourself these questions can give you more insight that can help you reach your highest potential. So that's the end of this special on Mars going retrograde. I am Amani, your holistic, karmic, astrological life coach. Take care and see you next time.